Okay, so we're talking about the percent equation today. This very first part, because we had a whole chapter on this stuff. Decimals, percents, fractions. I don't know if you remember. I hope you remember. So right here, changing 3/5 to a decimal. So the answer's up there, but hold on and think about it. This way, right here, do you agree with me? This is a long way to solve this problem.
Yeah.
Super long, right? They got they got a denominator of 10, so 6/10, that's just 0.6, because 6 is in the 10th spot. However, we know this, we talked about this. Every single fraction is always a hidden division problem, right? Grab your calculators and divide it. Type it in, I want to see everybody type it in, thank you. 3 divided by 5. Careful, 3 divided by 5, clear it out.
Oh, I did 5 divided.
Yeah, don't do it backwards, don't do 5 divided by 3, it's 3 divided by 5, Jack, what'd you get?
0.6.
How many were like, yeah, I remember this stuff. You remember? Okay, now open your workbooks to page 88. Everybody should have their workbook open to page 88. At the very bottom of page 88, there's this little graph, this little table. Let's fill in the table together. So, since we're talking about percents, decimals, and fractions today, if you're given a percent of 45, 45% is always out of,
100.
Yes, there you go. That's your fraction. You just said it out loud. So the fraction for 45% is always out of 100. So that would be 45 out of 100. We're at the bottom of page 88. Write it in the table. Okay, well now we've got to do the decimal for that. So some of you probably have this memorized. Or you can type it in. 45 divided by 100. Sammy, what'd you get? Okay, are you sure? All right, Jamie, what'd you get? How many of you agree with Jamie on that one? Okay, pause, look at this. Is this 1, 2, 3 ways to write the exact same thing? Sure is, 3 ways to write the exact same thing. All right, number 19, what if they give you a decimal? You can either do the percent or the fraction. I kind of want to hear from you guys. Which one do you want to do, but tell us how you're doing it. Julian, what do you want to do? Which one? All right, what are you going to do? Perfect. So we can do this divided by 100, because look at this 3. What spot is that 3 in? Hint, 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 it's in the 100th spot. So like Julian said, we can just do 73 over 100. Just stop. Because when you look at the board, Jacob, eyes up here. Would you ever put 0.73 out of 100? No, this is 73 out of 100, so be careful with that. Okay, now next, percentage. If you got 73 out of 100 on a test, Trey, what percentage is that?
70.
Yes, it is. Good job. 73%. How many are like, I got that? I totally get that, yeah? Perfect. Okay, what about number 20? Number 20, it's not out of 100. However, if you're given a fraction, can you change it to a decimal? Every fraction is secretly a division problem in disguise, right? So you can do 3 divided by 10. Bridget, what'd you get?
I didn't do it on my calculator.
Okay. Yes. Good job. 0.3, how many agree with him? Perfect. Okay. Are you ready? I'm gonna put 2 answers up here. And I want you to tell me which one is correct. The percentage is either 3% or 30%.
30%.
Okay, let's think about this. If you got 3 out of 10 on a quiz, that's like a quiz score, right? Great score or not so great score? Okay, that's definitely not so great, but when you come to these percentages, are these both not so great percentages? Okay, but you've got to figure out which one is which. How many of you are confident? I know which one it is and I'm confident. Okay, anybody willing to tell us which one it is with your confidence? Can you tell us, Joel, which one do you think?
30%.
You think it's 30%? Can you back it up? How come?
It's 3, because if you times both by 10, 3 times 10 is 30, and 10 times 10 is 100.
Brilliant. So what he's talking about, he said 3 times 10 is 30. 10 times 10 is 100. So technically, is 3/10 the same as 30 over 100? So 30%. That was the answer this whole time. All right, when I was your age, I learned that you were supposed to put a 0 right here, and then you bounce the decimal twice. Boing, boing, and that tells you the percent, 30%. I like Joel's way better because it tells you why it's 30%. Perfect. How many of you, I got that? Yeah? Percents, decimal fractions, you okay? All right, let's look at the next part. We're at the top of, stay with us, we're at the top of page 89. We get to draw on the pictures. So this one, we've got this bar, graph kind of, more just a bar, and we're going to split it. Split it into percentages. Well, 50% is already done. Right here. 50%. Now, can I have someone raise your hand and tell me, can you tell me where, we're just going to eyeball it, but we're going to do our best. Describe to me where I should put 75%. Vivi, where do you think? So after the 50%. Is it below 100%, guys? So below 100, after the 50, where? Add to this. I like that, Vivi. Thank you so much. Amanda, where else?
In the middle of 50 and 100.
Do you think it's right smack in the middle of 50 and 100?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, never mind.
75%. Add it in. Okay, let's do 40% next. I want a hand in the air. Tell me about 40%. Where would you put this one? We just have to eyeball. We don't have to be perfect. Bridget, where do you want to put it? Before the 50, like where before? Oh, right before the 50? Is this okay with you? All right, 40%. I agree. Richard? Before it, kind of close to it. Uh-oh, the next one. The next one is a terrible test score. What's the next score? That's a yikes. Come in for concept mastery. We got to help you. 6%. Where should it go? Brandon, where should it go? Perfect. Right by the 0. Uh-oh. Maybe you were absent. We got to catch you up, right? Okay. Last one. I'm really curious about this one. Somebody confident about this one? 65%. Camille, what are you thinking about this one? Okay, sorry. Hold on. Hold your conversations. I just want to hear Camille. Camille, go ahead. Perfect. In between 50 and 75, to where you keep going. Oh, she said more towards the 75. How come? Wow, Camille. She said closer to the 75 because it's only 10 from the 75, but it's 15 from the 50. How many? I agree with Camille's logic. Does that make sense? How many are like, I got this? Does that make sense? Just estimating? Okay, let's do another one then. Okay, we're on page 90 now. We're on letter B on page 90. Okay, you've got lots of room because I'm going to teach you something, one of my favorite things. Okay, first off, on the bar graph, just like before, if I put a line right here, what would you estimate that to be?
50%.
Okay, let's put 50% above it. All right, what if I put a line right here? Good job, guys. That would be about 75%, and that's what we're looking for. But this is a quiz out of 30 points. If you got 75% out of 30 points, I want someone to just guess. Well, not guess, you're estimating. That would probably be about, Tyler, what do you think? 20 or 18%. Okay, 20 or 18. You okay if I do 20? That was your first one. Let's say about 20. Okay, I'm going to show you exactly how to figure it out, and we'll see how close Tyler got. There's this fantastic thing called the percent proportion. Okay, you ready to write? You've got lots of room under this. Write down is over of equals. I'm going to give you time to write it. Is over of, I'm sure you're like, what the hell am I saying this for? But I'll show you, it's real great. Is over of equals percent. Because what is percent always out of? 100. So 100 is always the bottom right corner. Okay, it's real great to use the percent proportion because the question gives major clues for what goes where. So like I said when we were writing in our planners, I'm going to teach it to you this way because you rock solving these kind of questions. Something over something equals something over something. Do you agree with me that you rock it? You are so good at it. Okay, so let me teach you using this. You ready? This 75 goes somewhere in the percent proportion, and that's your hint. Where does it go? On the percent, because it's 75%. So instead of this, we can put 75. Okay, you ready for your next hint? Your next hint is this. Hint right there. Where do you think the 30 goes? On the of, so instead of, you put the 30 here. So let me rewrite it. What do you think we put for the is? Put a variable because that's what we're looking for. So we're going to do x over 30 equals 75 over 100. Okay? Yes. Cross multiply. Divide, so we've got right here in your calculators, type it in. 30 times 75, and then divided by the leftover, divided by 100. Okay, don't shout it out, hand in the air. Savannah, what'd you get? 22.5? How many of you got 22.5? Let me see. Guys, do you remember what Tyler guessed? Did he get pretty dang close?
Yeah.
Yes, he did, Tyler. Good job. Okay, let's do the same thing for letter C. So letter C, is if I draw in this right here, where would you say that is? I agree, that's about 50%, right? Well, what's 50% of 30? Oh, what is it? Uh-huh. Okay, but we don't want 50%, we want like 40, right? So 40 maybe like right there-ish. Okay, does anybody want to guess this one and we'll see how close you get to it? So 40% of 15. Totally an estimate. Jack, what do you think?
About 14. No, wait, sorry, 13.
You want to do 13? Okay. All right, let's check it. Let's see how close you got. Let's do is over of equals percent over 100. So in your notebooks, write down is over of equals percent over 100. Okay, and then go back to the question. It says what number is 40% of 30? Right here, there's a hint. What symbol is right after the 40? Percent, so it goes where the percent is. So right here, change this to a 40. All right, next part. It says of 30, hint, hint, hint. Where does the 30 go? In the of part in the bottom. So what do we put for the is? Let's just use the variable x. X over 30 equals 40 over 100. Make sure you write down the setup in your notes. So this would be 30 times 40 divided by 100. Don't shout it out. Make people work for it. Thank you. I see a lot of you typing in your calculator. A lot of you staying with us on the notes. Okay, now you can shout. What'd you get?
12.
Holy crap, Jack. Did he get real close?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he did.
Oh, yeah.
X is 12. Okay, I'm curious. How many of you, even though we've only done 2 examples, how many of you are like, I think I got this? Percent proportion is so easy to use, huh? It's so great. Okay, let's keep rolling. Let's do, go to page 92 in your workbooks. Now, be very careful. In your workbooks, I must see the setup and the answer. So 2 things, setup and the answer. The setup, you want to do it anyway, so you make sure you get it right. So I'm going to pull this down a little bit. Over of equals percent over 100. Okay, right here. Harrison, where does the 40 go? Yes, because it has a percent symbol, so it goes top right. So this would be our 40. All right, let's go with Skylar. Where does the 60 go? On the of, so bottom left. This is the 60. Okay, Amanda, what do we put in place of the is then? An x, a variable, sure. So I'm going to rewrite it so it's not as sloppy. X over 60 equals 40 over 100. Okay, stop. I want pencils in the air. Pens, pencils, hold them up in the air. Point to this on the board. Nod your heads if you already have this written in your workbook. Okay, if you don't, you need to have this written down. Write it down, write it down, write it down, write it down. Okay, now solve it. 60 times 40 and then divide it by 100. Don't shut it out. Make people work for it. Okay, Janessa, what'd you get? 24? How many of you got 24? You did? Okay, let's think logically about this. If you got 40% on a test, is that good or not so great? Not so great. So if you got 24 questions right out of 60, is that good or not so great? So does that answer make sense logically? Yeah? Okay, you okay with that?
Yeah.
Let's jump to number 3 then. Are you ready? Number 3. Oh, question. Go ahead.
Would you have to write a percent after the 24?
That is a great question. What do you guys think? Do we need a percent after this 24?
No.
Look at your question. It says 40% of 60 is what number?
Yes. No. No.
It just says numbers, so you don't need your percent, but that comes up in a second, so that's a great question. Oh, not yet. Okay, number 3, be careful with your setup. 38%. All right, Josephine, where does this 38 go? Perfect, so right here, put our 38. Okay, be careful. I want a hand in here. Do you know where the 57 goes? What do you think? Perfect, it's on top. It says it is 57. Guys, shout it out. What are you going to put in place of? I just put an X. Okay, let me rewrite it so it's not as sloppy. So 57 over X equals 38 over 100. So this is, when we use our calculators, 57 times 100 divided by 38. Okay, you ready? Trey, what'd you get? 21.66, is that what you guys got? I think that's too little, and this is how I know, Trey. Because if you got 38% on a test, I know you got at least some of them right. So this number is going to have to be bigger than the top number. Type it in again. Clear it out. 57 times 100 and then divide by 38. Everybody else whisper. 150 or 115? Okay, 150. Trey, is that what you got?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, think about that one. 38%. Great score or not so great score? Not so great. 50 questions, 57 questions right out of 150. Great or not so great? Not so great. If that's a driver's test, you gotta take it again. All right, let's do. Can we just do one more? Okay. Let's. Cute piggy bank picture. Okay, you really gotta think about this one before you start going crazy thinking about it. We can still use the percent proportion. Hint, hint, hint. Where does the 60 go? Percent. So right here. Here's the tricky part. This guy. Okay, what this problem is saying is you get paid and your paycheck is $235. You're super smart with your money and you're going to put most of it in your savings account. Okay, stop and think about this. Are you going to put all $235 in your savings? No, you got to have something so you can, buy clothes, buy gas, buy food. So $235, you've got to think you're only putting some of that away, right? So you gotta think, does the 235 go in the is part or the of part? It's kind of tricky. Tyler, what do you think? The is part? What do you guys think? Anybody else? Guess what? Do you have time to check 2 ways? Do we know how to solve these so fast we can check them both? Okay, I'm gonna split you up then. I want all of my boys to check this setup. Let's put 235 in the is. I want you guys to solve this one. All right, all my girls, are you ready? Girls, I want you to flip it and solve this one, and let's see which makes sense logically. Don't tell each other, not yet. Okay, what if you can't decide? If you can't decide, I would solve them both, and then look at your answers and be like, oh, it would have to be this one. That's one that makes sense. Okay, boys, you did 235 over x equals 60 over 100. Red on the board. I want a hand in here. Boys, what did you get? Tyler, what did you get? Okay, tell me again. Couldn't quite understand. Slow down.
391.67.
Okay, can I round it to 392? Is that right? Yeah? 392. Stop and think about that. So you're telling me you're going to put $392 into your piggy bank. Is that possible?
No.
Why is that not possible? You only made 235. So I'm hoping if this was on an assignment or a quiz or a test, you're like, uh-oh, wait, that doesn't make sense. So then you're like, I'm going to try the other way real quick. So flip it the other way. Caitlin, what'd you get? 141. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So part of your paycheck is going into that cute little piggy bank. I think you have time to check both. Okay, let's start our assignment.